It's weekend and it seemed like a great time for a shop improvement video, so let's get going. First thing, fume extractor. We've had this one for a long time. We've got switches on here to start and stop, the blower that is hooked up to, and we've always wanted to make it so the top switch is a 2-position, spring-loaded to shut the blower on and off, and then this one, the light switch. Haven't got around to that, but we have added a second fume extraction arm while it's a work in progress. You can see that 45-degree spiral duct, and in keeping in the spirit of if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly. We only had 145 and 190, so we took the 90 and we twisted it in an odd way to make it whatever angle. It might not be exactly 45 to hook up the duct at the bottom. Just quick and dirty, getting this thing going. So we have a dedicated fume extractor arm. Obviously we need to add the flex duct, which is the last thing to order new material because we can do that anytime. So we have a dedicated fume extractor for the TIG welding station, which you can see. One of the reasons I haven't made as many videos as I would like is because there's just stuff laying around the shop. It feels messy. We don't have a spot for our junk. One of the lessons I've learned from lean manufacturing is if you don't have a spot for your junk, it ends up in your workspace. Well, we are a great example of what not to do right now because there's just little bits of junk everywhere. Other thing, we ended up with this 4-foot wide 16-gauge Pexto shear. The improvements we really like are adding this little shelf. We've got a pallet under the bottom to make it so we can move it around with a pallet jack, which is super helpful. And so we tied into that wood at the bottom with this, put a diagonal brace on the back, really quick and dirty. Added some plywood to the side to put short pieces of material. So the thing, having done that we might do yet, which comes at the cost of making it a little bit wider, we might make another one at the other side because we've got some aluminum, and it might be nice to have aluminum on one side, mild steel on the other. And it's also nice because this is really where all our 16-gauge and lighter sheet metal collects, and it's really quick and easy to cut this stuff up now. And the other advantage of having this is just so we can trial what it's like having this, and it ties in really well with the spot welder. We've got this spot welder. We've also got a handheld spot welder. So to be able to shear up a piece really quick, form a part in the brake press or in the iron worker, spot weld it together. So if we need little widgets around the shop, or we want to try prototyping something, we can do it that much quicker and easier. And a lot of people now are prototyping with 3D printing, which eventually that's going to happen, as that is a good fit for us. But right now, a lot of the things we do is hot work and involves, chips and different things that will get embedded in 3D printed plastics, so not the best fit. Another little project is we've upgraded to this little Kalamazoo belt sander, just a 4-inch wide belt, and we had a wood version of this stand. Now we have a metal version and had these used drawers kicking around. So the top drawer has all the little bits and pieces, some vice grips for holding small parts, and a wrench for making adjustments for the blade tracking. Eventually we're going to have that so it's a tool-free thing, but right now it requires a tool, so we keep the tools here with it. And this little material rest, which I don't know that we'll ever use it, but it's there. And then there's also drawers for different grits of belts, as well as if we're doing mild steel or aluminum or stainless, we can keep those belts separate and dedicate specific drawers for aluminum or stainless. And mild steel, it doesn't really matter. You can use any old belt. Okay, so other thing, we started making this little intake here for the used fume extractor we bought for the TIG welding area because it didn't come with one. So that's a work in progress. And we also have some other bits and pieces, some elbows and parts that we found being thrown out. So we'll keep some patterns from this. We're making duplicate parts of any parts that are easy parts, like there's a flat piece that goes on the side to hold the switch box, the on and off control. So we made 2 of those while we were at it. And that's a little thing. We've been looking at our porta power parts. After moving the press brake, we've been thinking about different options for toe jacks for when we need to move that machine or another machine. So we're being somewhat proactive in terms of doing some planning around that. And we made some posts about the bandsaw. Actually, this is a great example of one thing that we did a nice little shearing job on, is this little cover, or this little expanded metal insert. That just happened so quick. Instead of chop it up with side cutters, or try and do it in the iron worker, that doesn't always do the best for light gauge shearing. Having that 16 gauge shear, super nice. And this guard here was also made with 16 gauge before we had that shear. And other things we've done around the shop with 16 gauge, now these are just a work in progress. These stands for underneath the pedestal grinders, you can see there's that one and that one. And the idea is to put drawers in under there for grinding wheels, wheel dressers, and then just other things that might be a good fit. Or I don't know exactly what all the things that would go in the drawers. Maybe the drill bits that need to be sharpened, if that's the way we're sharpening drill bits. Ideally, it'd be nice to have something better for drill bit sharpening than that. Anyhow, that's getting off topic. Other thing, we've been working on some work in progress carts because we don't have a good spot for a shelf. Sometimes work in progress is nice to be able to move it around the shop. So if it's on the workbench, you can wheel the cart over, unload the things that need to get worked on, load them back on, or move them to a different spot in the shop. So, and it's also keeping things mobile is a big deal. So there's a little fixture we made for drilling that, and we used the radial arm drill. Oh, there's the fixture. Perfect. This is fortunate that it's right here. So we'll show you this fixture quick, because usually we would do a lot of hole drilling like this on the milling machine. And you can see right here, all these closely spaced holes I can get. So there's 4 of those angles, 8 feet long. So we stacked the mirror image, and then we made up this little piece of tubing to clamp it to with the hole spacing, and this little piece of 1/4 inch round bar. So this clamped on the radial arm drill table. And the advantage of using the radial arm drill, which is now kind of boxed in by the shear, the advantage is there's a little more space. If we put long pieces on the milling machine, actually that door is lined up, so if we have a really long piece, it can stick out the door. But typically, to run an 8-foot piece this way off the end of the milling machine, it gets close to where the lathe is. So figuring out a quick and easy way to drill all those holes on the radial arm drill was a really big deal. And it was easier doing that, pre-drilling these holes here, which we used the digital readout on the milling machine to drill those 3 holes to get them accurate. And then we were able to move the pieces in the radial arm drill from hole to hole. Yeah, so we really only had to flip the parts end for end once. And it made the hole drilling way easier, hopefully. I wish I had done a little video about that. So anyhow, changing our methodology, trying to see how we can make the radial arm drill a lot more viable for certain drilling and tapping. So one of the other improvements is having a lot of tools related to the radial arm drill right at the machine, so we're more inclined to use it. And it also needs a couple little improvements for the locking mechanism, because that was all an electromechanical motor turning racks and pinions, and it's worn. I don't know how we're gonna repair it. I've got a couple ideas, so that's something. Oh, other thing, we just hung this here for the time being because it was hanging on that chain hoist. So now our spare 110 volt portable chain hoist is sitting here, ready to go. And what else can I say? That's the shop improvements for now that are easy to show. So until next time, please like, please subscribe, please comment below on things you'd like to see improvements or videos of. Hopefully, one of the things I will improve on is reading comments. And until next time, thanks so much for watching.